It's usually pretty hard to give ninjas a bad rap, but time hasn't been kind to the Azuma clan. Ever since the Tenchu series pawned off its group of clandestine warriors to another studio, the franchise has suffered a noticeable downturn in quality, souring its stellar PlayStation roots with pale imitations of its noble ancestry. Hoping to redeem its honor, the long-running stealth series is back with Tenchu Shadow Assassins, a next-gen shinobi sim where the weapon of choice is Waggle.
Somebody wants to start a war, but who and why?
One thing that Shadow Assassins makes known straight away is that it's made by the same guys behind the original PlayStation titles, going even as far as to completely disregard the existence of other storylines in the series.
So another kingdom is pulling the strings.
In place of Rikimaru's untimely retirement, Shadow Assassins meets the shadowy agent's return upon the defeat of Sorcerer Mayo, the big bad boss man from the first game. Though unscathed, the battle-hardened ninja's troubles haven't quite ended just yet.
Kiku!
The daughter of his sworn lord turns up missing, and by some cruel twist of fate, the deft death dealer finds himself implicated in the whole mess.
Ayame, can I ask you something?
Not if you expect me to give you an answer.
It's a time-told tale of shinobi subterfuge, told through short pre- and post-mission vignettes, painting the immediate situation at hand. But with solid localization and bits of random hilarity thrown in for good measure,
I piss on your apologies!
Shadow Assassins sets a suitable stage of Cloak and Dagger, without wearing out its paper-thin plot. Sure, you never get to know exactly why philandering old coots are such prime targets for the Azumas, but with bad guys as obnoxious as these, the answer usually speaks for itself.
I hate ninja.
Rikimaru, I must ask you to take on a dangerous task.
Taking the series back to its roots, Shadow Assassins plays out predominantly in the shadows. Going all out on lackeys isn't gonna cut it here. Kills must be swift and subtle. You'll do the majority of your dirty deeds in story mode, which trails separate campaigns from both Rikimaru and Ayame's point of view.
Unbearable.
If you want to brush up on the basics, running the gauntlet of assignment mode's timed challenges offers an avenue of replayability alongside besting ranked scores in the main campaign. Each story mission varies, but usually ends the same way. You make your way through the crony-infested map and deliver the kiss of death to the corrupted merchant or legislator waiting on the other side. It sounds simple enough, but how you go about it is the real conundrum. The punishment for failing in Shadow Assassin's stealthy directives borders on harsh. Get caught with your hand in the cookie jar and it's off to the beginning of the level with you. But the game implements a few nifty mechanics to help move the assassinations along. Snuffing out flames with a water-filled bamboo tube gives you suitable nightshade to move by undetected, or you can go zen and activate your mind's eye to get a better lay of the land and patrol routes. It's standard stealth action fare, but their creative implementations make for some satisfying moments of low-tech sneaking. Getting behind enemies prompts the instant kill, or Hisatsu. It's the most convenient way of offing a baddie, but certain opportunities will also present contextual executions, like downing snipers from watchtowers with a well-placed shuriken, or giving unassuming guards the burn from nearby bonfires. Shadow Assassins is no doubt a game all about its methods. The biggest problem is that all of it feels a bit too familiar. The level-by-level scenarios are overly direct and simplistic, and the dynamics of stealth present aren't quite so fresh in 2009. Stages are linear in approach. There are two ways to meet your objective, at best. At around 10 hours of play, it's also a little lacking on the whole, but replaying missions for better times, scores, and hidden map pieces allow it to share the attention of dedicated completists for a bit of extended playtime. It's certainly not the most compelling package on the Wii, but with a rare fixation for all things death and deception,
Good evening to you, Rikimaru.
it's still sure to win over its share of fans.
It's a pleasure to meet you. You call that stealth?
For a game that encourages tearing your opponents a new one, Shadow Assassins surprisingly doesn't have that much combat. Instead, you'll be spending a good majority of your time ducking into cover, leaping out of sight, and making use of various ninja tools with the use of the Wii Remote and Nunchuck.
What is this?
Controls are serviceable, but old Ricky steers more like a Sherman than a Lamborghini. Motion controls come into play during QuickTime prompts required to perform each instant kill, and a few sword duels. Vaguely reminiscent of the old Star Wars arcade lightsaber battles, these chance encounters are a little too restrictive,
Now I'm angry.
forcing you to obey static command inputs in place of a wider range of options. Unless you're wired on caffeine, be prepared for some tough love. Despite its fair share of quirks, Shadow Assassin's gameplay isn't too shabby.
Whatever.
Helpful on-screen prompts help keep your bearings about you, and the game's subtle approach doesn't ask much in the way of needless Wiimote flailing. For better or worse, Tenchu is a game born from a standard control scheme. For the most part, it stays that way here on the Wii.
If I'd gone all out, you'd be dead now.
With the lack of 480p, Shadow Assassins isn't exactly on the cutting edge of ninja tech, but it's still pretty hard to argue that it's one of the better looking Wii games on the market.
I owe you one.
You're not too good at taking compliments, are you?
It isn't all that often on the Wii that you see realistic blood, but Shadow Assassins is all about grit, and unapologetically so. Rikimaru and Ayame's sprite character models react with impressive realism, though occasional clipping issues and dodgy camera angles ruin the illusion a bit. The engine definitely makes use of what it's got, but sometimes it's not enough. On the audio end, Shadow Assassins offers up a contemporary collage of synths and shamisen, along with a capable cast of talented voice actors. Rikimaru has the gravelly voice down,
Sorry, friend.
and Ayame plays well as the snarky sidekick.
No, really. You think so?
But the peanut gallery of simple-minded villains deserves the most credit.
You'd better run!
Tenchu Shadow Assassins gives the Wii's family-friendly catalog a welcome streak of red. But an ancient design and trifling motion controls make it an old dog of war. Many aspects of the game simply feel dated, but the series is definitely back to its stealthy fighting form. It's going to take a lot more for it to achieve a successful contract kill.